Hi, come on in. Today we're talking to Rodney Dangerfield, star of the new motion picture Easy Money from Orion Pictures, and of course, a comedian. His clothing is in the Smithsonian Institution. He has given commencement addresses at Harvard University, movie star, advertising. Rodney Dangerfield.
Who's that?
I know. We're talking about a pretty impressive person here.
Oh my God.
Have you gotten respect yet, though?
No, that's something I'll never get, I guess. It's within me, whatever. But when you feel one way as a youth, it's tough to suddenly change and feel differently as an adult, I guess, I hope I'm an adult.
The term easy money is a misnomer, I think. That's not giving anything away. It's not easy for you at all to get this money in the film. You've got to go on a regimen in which you give up, it seems, all the good things of life.
Well, it's based on my own life, I guess. Try to stop smoking, stop eating, stop drinking, stop all the party things, and it's that should be called tough buck, not easy money. Huh?
I know. And have you tried to do these things yourself?
Oh, that's how the movie started. In private life, I was always trying to stop my self-abuse, and we thought it'd be a good idea to maybe bring it into a movie, and see what happens.
Trying to go straight, as it were, in the film is one of the things that seems to drive you a little crazy.
Anybody.
I was going to say, when you look around, do you think a lot of folks are driving themselves crazy, trying to give up the weight and the dieting and all
Everybody
of that?
has their own thing they're going through. If it's not weight, if it's not drinking, if it's not cigarettes, it's I got to stop doing this. There's too much. There's always something you want to moderate in your life, I guess,
And if enough wasn't enough, you've got to put up with a lot of anxious parents because you're a baby photographer. How did that profession get injected into the film? Whose idea was that?
I don't know. Perhaps it was mine.
Because it's a wonderful foil for you, the little kids.
Well, yeah, perhaps it was mine. I thought it'd be playful. I have to have some kind of a job in a movie, so be a baby photographer, I guess, and we just thought that might be good. Some humor in it here with kids and try it out,
Well, it made me think of W.C. Fields, and I understand you were saying earlier that you're considering a remake of My Little Chickadee. Do you see yourself as a contemporary Fields-like character?
I don't know. I don't picture myself as any particular type of character. I'm just doing myself. Maybe I am a character. I don't know. But I have this deal if I wanted to rewrite and do a remake of My Little Chickadee. It has to be all updated, and it would take 6 months to a year to really rewrite the whole thing and update it, But I wouldn't be doing W.C. Fields. When you start to try to imitate someone, then it's no good. You have to be yourself, and whatever you can portray yourself,
In portraying yourself, then, you're giving us a character in this and in Caddyshack who's always at odds with the world around him. Do you want to develop this, then? Do you see this as a character that a lot of folks are identifying with?
Well, the characters I do in these other movies are all tangents of myself, I guess. Caddyshack, he was a nouveau riche guy, just made a lot of money, and I added about 100 lines to the movie to fit the character, and he don't belong in country clubs and stuff like that. Well, how did he get in there, This is a little different, this picture, Easy Money. This character is like the thousands of guys I've seen who are struggling in life to try to make it, and everything else. I identify with the struggle of the average person, I guess, of all the hang-ups in life itself, and put him in that spot. And there's a line between comedy and tragedy, I guess, and try to see the comedy part of it all.
And it's going to legitimize a fashion trend, I think, that we'll be hearing about shortly, too, called The Regular Guy. I hope you'll hang on, because coming back after these words, we're going to talk more with Rodney Dangerfield about his career, what's been going on lately with him. Okay, hang on.
I was 338. We'll reset.
Okay, you want me to be on a tight again, on you?
Please, and then
Okay.
open it out as I introduce him.
And action.
Star of Easy Money, Rodney Dangerfield. I'm introducing to you now a movie star, but of course we know him from the many appearances on The Tonight Show, in commercials. What is this about having spoken to the Harvard commencement, Rodney? What is that all about?
I know. Well, they called me up, it was about 4 or 5 years ago, to speak to the graduating class and their parents, and they asked me to give them advice. And I told them, you're graduating, they said, whatever you've learned here in 4 years, I said, you go out into the world, it will do you absolutely no good. I said, the best thing you can do is move back with your parents and let them worry about it, because it's tough out there. That's what I told them. So they got a kick out of that.
Okay, now what kind of education have you had? Would you call it a street education?
Well, I graduated high school, and that was about it. College in my youth was for the elite, a little difficult. But mine was, I guess you learn when you go out and meet the world, and meet all kinds of people. You get hurt quite a bit, and different people, you know where their heads go. So I guess I'm streetwise, as they say, or whatever,
Has humor become for you then a way of combating or defending yourself against the big hurts out there?
Well, humor to me started out as an escape from reality. When I was 15, I started writing jokes. Not out of happiness, perhaps you rather go into a fantasy world and have your head go there and get more of a kick out of it than facing the real life. I was an unhappy kid, I guess, and whatever the reasons are, so you go into humor to offset it. You're very often in depression times, humor flourishes. People need an escape, you know.
Of course, it's a job as much as anything now, humor is. Are you a funny guy, just generally speaking?
Well, once you have a sense of humor, which I'm really happy I have, it pulls you out of life, out of many depression areas and many thoughts. If you see humor in something, it makes life a little bit easier to get by.
But if a joke occurs to you, do you find yourself wanting to write it down instead of just enjoying it as
I
a
always
joke?
carry a pencil and paper
Really?
with me, you know. I mean, I'm still old-fashioned. I have a tape, but I carry a pencil and paper, and if I think of something, I write it down, and it happens very often, you know.
You've worked as a salesman, too, of course. There was a 10 or 12-year absence.
12 years. I quit show business at 28, came back at 40. For 12 years, I was selling paint, stone, aluminum siding. I was in business for 10 years in Englewood, New Jersey. And I quit show business looking for the American dream, life, the picket fence, marriage, the whole scene, and that collapsed when I was 40.
And I don't think there are any picket fences in Hollywood, are there? I don't recall any.
I don't
Is that a
know.
lifestyle that you have found yourself growing towards, or do you just assume?
No, I'm a New Yorker, I guess. I bought a house in Connecticut recently, but I don't think I'll ever go Hollywood.
You have said that nothing surprises you. Nonetheless, your success in movies, hasn't that surprised you a little bit?
I don't know. It's hard to.
Caddyshack,
know,
for example. Did
yeah.
it hit as big as you had supposed?
Well,
it
there
would?
was a juicy role, you know, I felt, because comedy is very often one part of comedy is incongruity, of putting someone in a situation where he don't belong, and the things that could take place, as I was in Caddyshack in that swanky country club, you know. And I knew it was a good role, I felt, and as I said, I added about 100 lines to it to fit the character, and it came out perhaps better than I thought it was. I didn't think it would be that strong for me, you know.
And let me conclude with one last note about Monte Capuletti and Easy Money. I, for one, have always admired Jackie Gleason's work. Would you think it's fair to see this as a kind of a latter-day Ralph Cramden?
No, I don't see it that way. No.
The regular guy kind of image? Comparisons
no.
sometimes can be unfair, though, can't they?
This character was a little different than Gleason's. Gleason's in The Honeymooners was, he was a brash guy who thought he knew it all and the whole thing. I'll do it to one of those things. I played a guy, like him and Norton were compared to Laurel and Hardy. Like he was, I'll do the talking, okay? Monte Capuletti is not the guy who knew everything in the movie here. I don't see any similarity to Ralph Cramden myself.
We're going to have to watch Easy Money and see for ourselves. Of course, Rodney Dangerfield and Orion Pictures production. Thanks a lot, Rodney.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure.